What's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews. Well, before in my last video when I got the new Makita, this is the Japanese version of the Gen 2. It's got the DST, Bluetooth, a lot of cool new features, also IP56 rated. When I did my initial review on this, I noticed that it performed rather poorly compared to a lot of other impact drivers that had around the same specs. So I was kind of wondering if there might have been a break-in period on this. So what I did was I went and tested it out for a few days, on the job site, did a bunch of work with it, and now it's all fully broken back in now. I've used it definitely a bunch recently, and all broken in now, so I'm really curious to see how well it does now versus the Hikoki. And kind of the question I want to answer is, if you only could buy one of these, which one should you buy? Now, let's go over some basic details here. On the Hikoki, without a battery, of course, you can buy both these batteries here in the US. These impact drivers you can both buy only in Japan. So, the Hikoki is going to be around $120, $130 on Amazon Japan before shipping. I got mine, it was kind of like on a sale thing, so it was like 10 bucks off. So it came out to about $130 with shipping. Not a bad deal there. Now the Makita is definitely going to run you quite a bit more. I think I paid right around $170, $180 for the Makita. With shipping, it came out to about $190. So yeah, definitely on the more expensive side with the Makita. Now, these two both are very, very similar. A lot of pros and cons to both these impact drivers. So the Makita has a 4 LED in the little ring there. They both, of course, don't have glow rings. I'm kind of a fan of the glow rings to myself. They're actually kind of cool. But the Hikoki has a 3 LED around the ring there. Now, I do much prefer the modes in the Makita. They make a lot more sense. You've got speeds 1 through 4, which is quite universal. There's also some self-tapping modes, a bolt removal mode. You can turn the light on and off just like you can with the Hikoki. Now the Hikoki, it doesn't have like a speed 1 through 4. Instead, it's just going to be, small screw, large screw, bolt, self-tapper. That's about it, unfortunately. Of course, you can turn the lights on and off like the Makita. They both have that same exact feature. I do like the Makita has the little button up top here, so I can adjust speeds 1 through 4 without actually touching the control panel down there, which is awesome to have. Love that feature on the Makitas. Just fantastic to not have to actually, move your hand, move the impact driver too much to change your speed settings. Fantastic feature on there. They do have space for that on the Hikoki, whereas they didn't put that on there, which is kind of strange. So, of course, both are IP56 rated. That's finally awesome. Makita has that. For the pricing on the Makitas, they are definitely not cheap. So to finally add an IP56 is absolutely fantastic. So let's see the weight and size comparisons of these. Now they're both about, the same width and height. Not a huge amount of difference there. I think the Makita is just ever so slightly taller, maybe about a 1/8 of an inch max here. But when you add up the basically the length of the heads here, that's where you get a little bit of a change there. So the Hikoki from front to back, we're at 4.55 inches, and the Makita is going to be at 4.77. So slight differences there in height from the Hikoki to the Makita. Not a huge difference, but I will say the Makita is definitely going to be a much thicker head, whereas the Hikoki is much more compact. So let's check out the weights here. All right, so our Hikoki with the smallest battery that you can possibly put on these, here in the US, of course, is going to be the 2.5 amp hour 36 volt battery from Makita HPT. That is the battery that works in the Hikokis. And then the XGT has the 2.5 amp hour XGT battery. So I'm at 3 pounds, 6.8 ounces for the Hikoki. And on the Makita, you're going to be at 3 pounds, 12.5 ounces. So just a slight difference there in weight. I will say I do notice the weight difference between using these two. Definitely the Hikoki is a little bit lighter, definitely a little bit nicer to use. I will say the trigger response is going to be a little bit nicer on the Hikoki as well. Of course, that's subjective. You may feel a different way on that. But just from using a lot of impact drivers over the years, I like the trigger feel on the Hikoki definitely a little bit more. All right, so let's do a few speed tests here between the Hikoki and the Makita. I've got a lag bolt. This is not pre-drilled in here. We're just going to put these in. I put them in just enough so they stay up on their own, and whichever one has the socket basically hit the wood first is going to be our winner here. So I'm going to guess they're going to be pretty close now. Let's see if the Makita with a break-in period is going to be any better. So let's give this a shot. let's try that one more time. You know, I don't know what it is. Something with the Makita, it just feels slower. Now, I don't know the times just yet until, of course, I edit the video. But I did a few other tests. You know, I just can't really get the Makita to seem like it's, you know, pushing at full power. Now, I've got it in, of course, speed 4 here. That's going to be your max speed you can do this on. I've got the Hikoki just in the long screw mode. So they're both at the fastest speeds I can possibly put them on. And for some reason, the Makita just doesn't seem to want to push ahead. Now, it does totally fine when it comes to, you know, normal size fasteners. Of course, I'm pushing these impact drivers by driving a rather large leg bolt here. But the Hikoki, I think, definitely takes it. Now, it does have a few, you know, downsides of the Hikoki. Of course, it doesn't have a quick insert chuck like the Makita, which I don't know why Metabo doesn't do those. It's got kind of a weird collet here where you have to push it, you open the collet, push it in, and then you gently pull it out, and that locks it in. Whereas, of course, the Makita is just going to be a very simple push in. There you go. So, between these two impact drivers, from using them both myself personally, while I am a Makita guy, I love Makita. I was hoping this would kind of be like, you know, the holy grail of impact drivers here. I got to give it to the Hikoki, actually. When we look at features, price, performance, I think the Hikoki takes it from the Makita Gen 2, honestly. I kind of seen myself using the Hikoki a bit more. I did get to use the Makita a ton on, you know, a couple jobs recently. Around the house, I had a couple projects I used. It's a comfortable impact driver. Nothing, you know, it's definitely top tier. Going to be one of the best impact drivers you can buy on the market today. But I think the Hikoki just bests it when it comes to a little bit of power, price difference considerably, being almost, you know, 40% cheaper than the Makita. And, you know, batteries are going to be cheaper for the Hikoki as well, too. Metabo HPT batteries are relatively cheap here in the US, whereas XGT are definitely on the pricier side still. It's also with the triple hammer. I'm not a fan of the triple hammer myself personally, but whatever Hikoki is doing with it, it's definitely phenomenal in this impact driver. It's putting out a ton of power, very comfortable. Of course, they're not quite impact drivers by any means. They both are, of course, mechanical. They're not hydraulic driven, so there's definitely a big difference there. But, you know, at the end of the day, I got to give it to the Hikoki. I think it just does an impact driver better than Makita for this generation right now. Getting to try them both out quite a bit on job sites now, day-to-day stuff. I think the Hikoki is smaller, lighter, a bit more powerful. IP56 rated on both of them, of course, but it's also a better value for what it is. So guys, you know, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I guess the Makita doesn't really have a break-in period. That's kind of what my theory was. Overall, it's been pouring about the same. A couple of tests I went and did, you know, on the side, wasn't really pushing it any different than I had before. Hikoki wins, honestly, from just, you know, overall most stuff here, and then just price alone. It's not like the Makita pulls way ahead in any category than the Hikoki. Hikoki, they definitely have a winner on their hands here. You can pick these up from Japan. Check out my video I did on how to buy tools from Japan on Amazon. You can find out how to buy both of these impact drivers. And thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I hope you have a great day, and stay safe out there.